Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the latest and greatest episode of Game Rivals. I am your host with the most, Maximilian X, coming to you from the interwebs. How's it going, fellow rivals? I hope you're all doing good. I hope you're all looking forward to the Summer Game Fest, which is happening this week. Actually, tomorrow, as of this episode dropping. If you're listening to it the day this episode drops, you got another day before Summer Game Fest officially kicks off. But before that, we have the pre-kickoff with PlayStation's showcase, which I'm going to be talking about some more, and of course, other gaming news, as well as some of my speculation of what we might expect from Summer Game Fest this year. So let's just start off with, of course, what else? The PlayStation Showcase. That was 2 weeks ago. Uh, that little thing dropped the same day as the podcast, so I couldn't do anything. And I didn't really have the time to record like an extra episode. What I did do though was live stream my reactions, which you can find on my Twitch, which is twitch.tv/Maximilian_X. The VOD is on there, so if you want to check out my reactions, it is there. I don't know if I'm gonna put it on my YouTube channel. I might, I may not. I'll have to see if it's still worth it or not. But I do want to talk about the stuff that was announced there. And there was a bunch of announcements. There are a lot of CG trailers. There are also some stuff that, kind of caught me off guard a little bit. Some stuff that I'm looking forward to, and some stuff that, let's just get into it. So the thing starts, right? And you expect that it's a Sony, it's a PlayStation showcase. It's an hour. They're gonna show off a bunch of stuff. Most definitely, they're gonna at least show off Spider-Man 2 because it's coming out later this year. But maybe some stuff that they're working on, and we do get something. We got the first something from Haven Studio, which is the studio helmed by Jade Raymond, who was the producer of the first um, Assassin's Creed game over at Ubisoft back in the day. And they showed off the CG trailer for a game called Fair Games. The S in games is a dollar sign. I mean, if you've seen the trailer, it looks a lot. It kind of has this payday kind of vibe, and it's all like, yeah. I mean, it looked fine, but the problem is it was a CG trailer. It's coming out day and date on PlayStation 5 and on PC. And as a little tidbit for people that may not be aware of this, PlayStation have said that if a game comes to PlayStation 5 and PC day and date, expect it to be a live service game. Because they'll only do it for the live service games. They won't do it for their single player stuff. Their single player stuff will still be delayed on PC, and will be like a timed exclusive on PlayStation 5, which, kind of makes sense. And a lot of the trailers that we're going to be talking about are that. They are games that have been announced for both PlayStation 5 and PC. Day and date. The CG trailer looks fine. It's a CG trailer, so can't really judge it until we see actual gameplay. What the live service is gonna be like, what the gacha is gonna be like, uh, if there's gonna be gacha. I don't know. We don't know. We don't know how this game's gonna look like. Aesthetics wise, we kind of can guess from the CG trailer, but aside from that, yeah, not really, not really a lot, not really a lot. Yeah, so they showed off a bunch of other games coming. Another one that they showed off was dang it, what's it called again? Where is this one? Another one that they showed off was dang, what's it called again? Something with an H. Helldivers 2. So Helldivers was a game that came out on PlayStation for I think like within the first year. I think it was a 2014 title, and it was this top-down. I want to say a top-down shooter, kind of, sort of. It was kind of fun, at least from what I heard. Sean Templar, Game Rivals alum, he played it. He recommended me playing it, saying that it was actually really fun. Never got to play it. I should. It's on PlayStation 4, so I should be able to do it. But yeah, that one also is getting that one. Not first of all, it's getting a sequel, which was a shock, and then it turned out to be a third-person shooter. I think this is the only game that came close to actually showing off potential gameplay. I think it was still mostly a CG trailer, but yeah, they showed off like potential gameplay, and it's a silly trailer. It's a fun trailer. It's like it's inoffensive. But the thing is, it's also a PlayStation 5 and PC day and date. So people are also very cautiously speculating that this too is most likely a service game, which is kind of weird because the first game is not that at all. Like, not even. And now it's only like a third person shooter live service game. It's weird. It's weird. I don't know. I mean, the game looks like fun. Like they put in a lot of they put in a lot of heart. You know what? I can respect heart. Um, so they showed that one off, and they showed off a bunch of other games. I don't want to get too deep into it all because they showed off a lot of gosh darn games. So one of the games that they showed off was a new. Well, actually, not new. That sounds stupid. They showed off something that I don't think a lot of people were expecting, but were hoping for, and that is a new Dragon's Dogma, like an official sequel from Capcom. Honestly, when they showed it off first, I thought Monster Hunter, but no, it's not Monster Hunter. No, it was Dragon's Dogma, something that I didn't expect. Pleasantly surprised. They actually showed off gameplay, so kudos to Capcom on that. And it looked good. I mean, one of the things that was kind of against the first game was the fact that it did not look that great. The character design was kind of not pretty. That's the best thing I can say about that. I've played it a little bit on PlayStation 4 because it was available on PlayStation Plus to redeem like over a year ago. To be more specifically, the enhanced version, Dragon's Dogma Ascendance or something. Dark Arisen, the Dragon's Dogma Dark Arisen, which is like the enhanced version of Dragon's Dogma, and it's fine. I mean, it's kind of it's kind of a Souls like. The Capcom's take on a Souls like, kind of like how Koei Tecmo has the uh Neo games that kind of basically take up that, and like Wulong has that feel for it. So yeah, it looked good. Kind of makes me want to check out the first game again for the story, of course, because it picks up the story. It continues the story for it, which is really cool. They also showed off Assassin's Creed Mirage. Finally, we actually had some in-game footage and stuff. And I have to say, I know that not a lot of people have gravitated towards the modern things of Assassin's Creed. So it's so great to see something harkening back to the old school thing. I thought it was a remake of the first Assassin's Creed, but no, this was actually Mirage. Takes place in Baghdad. You're doing actual assassin stuff, like stalking your prey and freaking killing them and like getting intel, like an assassin freaking does, um, with like really cool flourishes and stuff. and it looks cool. It looks pretty. It looks cool, and it looks like what I imagine Assassin's Creed was back in the day, and I'm also kind of happy. I'm assuming they'll, of course, have like modern, like quality of life changes. Obviously, stands to reason, right? But yeah, they showed off a really flashy trailer. It looked pretty cool. Um, they're of course gonna have their Ubisoft Forward this coming Monday, the 12th of June. So keep an eye on that. They'll show off more Assassin's Creed there, especially since Ubisoft has pretty much gone all in on Assassin's Creed. For some reason, they are like throwing all their eggs in the Assassin's Creed basket, which is something that they discussed recently in like an interview. Ugh, I'm not really sure about that, but that kind of worries me. Um, it is coming out this October, October 12th, on pretty much everything except for like Switch. It's even coming to the Amazon Luna of all things. I'm like, oh yeah, they support that. Huh. I mean, if it's coming to PC, then you're damn skippy that you can play it on GeForce Now. So yeah, like why pay for Luna when you can pay for GeForce Now and not have to buy the game twice, or subscribe twice, basically. um, PlayStation revealed a new fever assassin's focus, which lets you mark and assassinate several targets in a row, which is really cool. I don't think they showed it off in the trailer unless they did and I didn't notice, but it that's a very cool feature. Another game that got a release date during the PlayStation showcase was Alan Wake 2, which is coming out October 17th. It looks really cool, really spooky. If you know me, I am not good with like the horror games. I do my best, but I have my I have my limits. This game looks plenty scary, plenty freaky. Can't wait to see how people react to it. I never played the first game. Uh, do I have the first game? I might. I have to have. I'm not 100% sure, but yeah, Alan Wake looks cool. You of course are playing with Alan, but you're also playing with like this new character who's like this investigator. So it's like a dual protagonist kind of thing where you play with one character and then I think like chapter wise, depending on the chapter, like you play with like Alan or this new person. So yeah, look forward to that. Another thing that they of course showed off was Final Fantasy 16. Oh my gosh, this game is so freaking pretty. I hate that I don't have a PlayStation 5 because it's not coming to anything else anytime soon. Joy. I mean, it's coming out June 22nd. I'll be sure to like watch people streaming and stuff like that. Man, I need to. I need some freaking Final Fantasy 16. I feel is like the game that the franchise needs and deserves. Because let's be real, man. Final Fantasy 13 didn't do it any favors. Final Fantasy 15 definitely didn't do it any favors. The only thing that has like kind of potentially saved the Final Fantasy name is Final Fantasy 14, and that's an MMO. Don't get me wrong, it's a good MMO, but it's still an MMO. So it's nice to have a single player affair from Square and have it look, sound, and hopefully feel good to play. Um, I really hate that I have to miss out on this, but it is what it is. Um, till the day I get a PlayStation 5, hopefully cheaper than what it is now, because now it's more expensive than when they first released it, which sucks on ice. Um, yeah. So another thing that got announced was a project from Bungie of all places. Yeah, you'd think they'd be busy with Destiny 2 content. Nope, they are also working on new content. They're working on Marathon of all things. Now, if you're like not a 90s kid, or to be more specifically, a 90s Mac kid, you probably wouldn't have heard of Marathon unless you are a Xbox 360 kid that played the re-releases on Xbox Live. Then you wouldn't know what Marathon is. Marathon is essentially the precursor to Halo. It was Halo before Halo was Halo, and they are technically connected canon wise. Uh, sorta. You'd have to ask Bungie. I don't know if they still consider it canon, but sure. Um, this one also kind of has the same challenge that that Fair Games has. It's a game that was announced for the PlayStation 5 and PC and only had a CG trailer. So, you know, I mean, for one, I will say this: the CG trailer looks freaking gorgeous, and it's Bungie, man. They can sell you an ice cube, and people would still cheer, like an honest to goodness ice cube, and people would still cheer. That's the extent of faith and trust the community from Bungie has in them. And I hope they live up to the expectations. It is very, very pastel very like sterile looking, but at the same time also very cyberpunky. So I don't know. If you're interested in the new Marathon, it seems like it's gonna be more PvP based, and of course, it's gonna be a live service since it's also coming out on PC day and date. Few more highlights I would like to bring up. They showed off a new trailer for the Plucky Squire. You might be thinking, the Plucky Squire? What's that? Well, allow me to explain. Plucky Squire is this cute little indie title, which is like this what do you call it again? A fairy book tale kind of adventure, but do you go beyond the the fairy tale book? So like you reach the end of the book and then you leap out into the 3D world and you can explore through there and then leap into other books and stuff like that. It looks really cool. It's really pretty. I will 100% recommend checking it out. It's coming on all consoles, not just PlayStation, but it's coming out on all consoles. I think it was originally announced on like Switch, and then later it was like revealed that it's like a multi-platform game, which makes sense. But it looks really pretty on PlayStation 5. I will give you that. They showed off a new game, very like China inspired, which seems to be a trend lately, called Phantom Blade Zero. It looked interesting. The combat looked interesting. Um, I guess we'll see when it finally comes out. There's no release date for this one yet. It seems to be semi-open world. It kind of reminds me of Wulong. Uh, maybe I don't know. But it kind of reminded me of that. And it looked good. It looked pretty. It looked pretty decent for like a first trailer. I think I don't remember who the developer is of that one though. Man, speak of like trailers that caught me off guard. One of them was the Talos Principle 2, which they showed off that trailer and I was like, I've seen this before. This looks like Talos Principle. And then they showed the title, Talos Principle 2. I was like, oh, good. I'm right. I was glad that I was right and not being delusional. They had some really banger like reveals. Freaking Ghost Runner 2 had probably one of the best reveals, even if it was a CG trailer. Even if it was a CG trailer. It looked so good. It started off in this like cyberpunky kind of world where like you're this guy on a motorcycle and you're doing like cool things like car combat-y stuff. And then it ends with like the title screen and it shows off Ghost Runner 2. I'm like, yo, that looks tight. That looks tight. I need to play that game by the way. Ghost Runner, the first game, it is on I think on everything, even on Switch. But I might pick it up on PC because you can get a better deal on it. Plus, it is on GeForce Now, So, I don't need to have a heavy ass rig to play it. I can just play it through the browser or the dedicated software. Yeah, we already covered Helldivers 2. Then we also have from the creator of Gris, Neva, which, oh my god, this trailer was so gripping and beautiful. It's this 2D animated trailer about like this big wolf deity that, oh my god, it's freaking so sad. That dies, and then like you have to take the responsibility of its like pup and like help it, you know, become what it eventually becomes. And it's so pretty. Oh my gosh, it's so pretty. And it's so sad. I don't know when this is coming out. It's supposed to come out next year. It's too far away. I know that they have to work on the game, but it's too far away. They showed off Cat Quest Pirates of the Caribbean. Oh my gosh, I almost forgot about Pirates of the Caribbean. Oh my gosh, that's so that's so cute. The game looks so cute too. It's very fitting. So Cat Quest is this top-down RPG flavor stuff, kind of like, yeah. Let me think. The closest thing I can compare it to is Zelda 2 or The Adventure of Link. It kind of has a similar vibe, especially with the overworld, but outside of that, eh, nah. There's that. Um, there's a few more things I want to touch upon before we go to the big news for yeah, for games. Ooh, one of them is a doozy, so hang on to that. Basically, let me see. There are so many games announced. They showed off a new game called Revenant Hill, which is a very nice and very pretty looking game. A game starring a cat, and you have to interact with the cat to prevent it from like sabotaging you and whatnot. Cats be like that for real. They showed off a bunch of other trailers, which I would honestly recommend go checking it out. IGN has a very nice list of like all the stuff that got announced, but I want to talk about a few of the things that were announced that are pretty much a standout, right? So, oh my gosh, I know it's a CG trailer, but when they showed off that Snake Eater was being officially remade, I was stunned. Mostly because I don't believe in Konami anymore, even if they're trying to get back into the space. Their attempt has been met with mostly failures. I mean, like there's that shooter. Is it a shooter? I don't remember. I thought it was a shooter. Um, that's like holed up in that laboratory, and it's like, ooh, it's like, I don't know. It's weird. Um, but yeah, like I mean, it's Metal Gear Solid 3. I mean, oh, sorry, Metal Gear Solid Delta, as they call it now. Basically, like afterwards, like a week or so afterwards, they had an interview with like Konami, with a spokesperson from Konami, and they of course asked the big question: is anybody from like Kojima Pro, are they working with them? The answer, of course, was a solid no. Why would they? The fallout was pretty freaking bad when they let go of Kojima. So they essentially, they not even essentially, they forced him out of the company and took his name off of like Me- Metal Gear Solid 5, so a game that he's worked on from start to finish, and they did not even honor that for him. They didn't even like let his name remain in the game after they like kicked him out before the game released. That kind of sucks. So yeah, Konami, Not a game company I'm gonna put my 100% faith in. But but um I have I have faith in that it would at least be okay, and it just might because they are remaking the third game and re-releasing the first three games on PlayStation and I think also on Xbox and PC. So the first Metal Gear Solid 2, sorry, Metal Gear Solid 1, Metal Gear Solid 2, and then MX08, something like that. I think no, sorry, Metal Gear Solid 1, 2. I don't think it's 3. That would make no sense since they're remaking it already. I think there was a third. I think there was a third one that don't remember. So like two, um, sorry, one, two, and I think three, or another game. I think I don't remember. I forget. Why did I forget? Is it here on my list? Outside of the fact that they showed off Metal Gear Solid Delta, I think that it is. Let me check real quick. So another thing that they confirmed was that the voice acting is going to be the same one as from the original game. So you'll hear David Hayter as Snake. Don't worry about that. The real question is, are they re-recording their roles? It didn't seem from this interview that they were. It seems that they were just gonna like literally reuse everything from the original. So again, mileage may vary. Um, but yeah, so yeah, okay, so they did. Metal Gear Solid Remaster Collection, which is a remaster of the first three games, which is kind of funny considering that Delta is on its way. So it's like, why have the collection that has three in it? It's fine. I don't know. I don't get it. But one of the reasons why they said they wanted to start with narratively with the third game is because narratively the third game is the beginning of the story itself. And if that is the case, then I'm pretty sure they're going to like be like, okay, so chronologically, this is what happens. Um, this is how Naked Snake becomes Big Boss. Spoilers there. Um, and basically, it would follow suit that the next game would be, I want to say, Metal Gear Solid One remake. Then, just like after the whole like thing. No, I think no, I'm wrong. I no, yeah. So in terms of like mainline games, yes, it would be the first Metal Gear Solid game that might get the next like the remake treatment. They also might give us a curveball because technically the let me think. I think technically the sequel to the story is Metal Gear Solid Peacemaker and then Metal Gear Solid 5. So that is weird because Metal Gear Solid 5 is already out on PlayStation 4. So I don't know what they're going to do with that. Yeah, that was weird. That was weird. Um speaking of weird, jeez. Yeah, speaking of weird. So a while ago, I think I talked about it in the podcast. I might have talked about it in the podcast. A while ago, they announced there was a patent leaked from Sony that they were gonna that they patented this like device that had a screen in the middle and like two controller pieces on the side that looked like the the dual sense. And honestly, I laughed it off like, oh, that's just another patent thing. They patent like a bunch of stuff that ends up not coming out. Well, the jokes was on me this time, cause yikes. Project Q, PlayStation announced dedicated game streaming device. This thing streams your PlayStation 5 games from your PlayStation 5 to it, but only on Wi Fi. So even if you take it with you, unless you have a PlayStation 5 that has games loaded on it so that you can play it, the Project Q is pretty much worthless. It's not for you, it's for the PlayStation 5 owner, the enthusiast that does not want to do remote play on their phone or tablet. So that's what they would get instead. At least the setup is easy. So, I mean, I'm assuming. I have no idea. I actually don't even know when this thing is supposed to come out. Um, but yeah, it's weird. It has an H in 8-inch IHD screen with all the buttons and features of the dual sense controller, of course. And I don't know. To me, it seems very unpractical to have a dedicated streaming device for something that can only connect to your PlayStation 5. But I don't know. Maybe things might change, but I seriously doubt it. I seriously doubt it. I'm gonna skip all the other major announcements again. If you want to read up on it, it's on IGN.com. Um, I wanted to talk about one other thing that they showed off, and of course, it's the biggin. Is the biggin. It's the thing that I was waiting for the whole time, and that was the beautiful Spider-Man 2. Oh my gosh, Peter Parker in the freaking symbiote suit and Miles Morales, and you're switching back and forth between the two, and like you can really like, oh dang, I don't what's the voice actor's name again? I forget. Uh Jake something that voices Spider-Man in the Spider-Man games. Oh my god, he did such a good job playing like symbiote Spider-Man. Like the aggressiveness in his voice reminded me of like Spider-Man the animated series from the 90s, if you can remember that. Like I was there half sitting waiting for him to go, "Shocker! Shocker! You can't escape me. I'll chase you to the ends of the earth." It's such an iconic over the top line from like the animated show where like Peter Parker is basically almost completely consumed by like the aggressiveness of the symbiote suit. And yeah, it's crazy. It's a top notch, over the top performance. I hope they add that as an Easter egg in the game because, well, Shocker is in the game. They showed off a bunch of the villains that will be in the game. They showed off uh, what's it called? The Hunter. No, damn it, I forgot his name. I don't know why I forget his name. It makes no sense. Because as soon as I saw the trailer and I saw that character, I was like, oh my god, they added that character. That's so cool. Damn it, I forgot. Not Kraid. That's from Ninja Turtles. Um, Damn it, I forget. I'll look it up. But yeah, they showed off like a 12-minute demo. Oh my god, that's like it was so gorgeous. It looked so smooth and so cool, and it's like, yes, this is what I was here for. This was worth the excitement of like waiting for it to see it and like how it works, because they said it wouldn't be a co-op game. It's strictly single player. And you're switching between the two characters. Um, I'm pretty sure it's gonna be dynamic for like the story missions, and then for everything else, it's like whatever. You can level up Peter, you can level up Miles Morales, increase their ability that way. I'm pretty sure it's not a shared pool of experience, so you know that's fine. Um, Damn it, I forget what that character is called. Um, Something K something the Hunter. Um, So yeah, that looked really good. Good cap. They showed off some VR games, but I honestly, it was fine. It was fine. I do know that one of the games, I think it's called like Synapses or something, has David Hayter as the main character, and like the voice over the radio that assists you is Jennifer Hill, who played Naomi in Metal Gear Solid, which is crazy. So it's like this mini Metal Gear Solid reunion, and it looked so good. Damn, it looked so good. Craven, Jesus, that's the one for the Spider-Man villain, Craven the Hunter. I don't know why it took me so long to like think of that one. Craven the Hunter. That dude looked so awesome in the trailer. Oh my gosh, like yeah, man, they're doing this guy justice. You know what? It's good to see game developers doing characters from other mediums justice, because you don't see that all the time. You don't see a lot of that. So that was for the most part the PlayStation showcase. I know that was a lot. There's still a lot more that they showed off. They showed off a Square Enix title called Foam Stars, which is clearly a Splatoon ripoff, but with like cool kids and foam and like no squids anywhere to be seen. But the foam are like two different colors, very much this Splatoon deal. And like I think the one with the most coverage wins. So again, very Splatoon, like very obvious. It's like, dude, at least like put in a little effort, you know. At least like games like Jala actually put effort into their Splatoon clone. Come on, but yeah. So that and more you can find. Like if you haven't watched the PlayStation Showcase yet, you know it's worth checking out. Yeah, yeah, feel free to like speed through like stuff that you don't that doesn't like really interest you, but honestly for the most part you'll want to stick around and watch it and see all the beautiful CG not all of them of course. There are some actual gameplay trailers that they showed off, so at least there's that. Moving on from that, uh, oof, wow, that was a really long one. All right, so moving on from that, what I'm going to do is I am going to issue in a break real quick, and when we come back, we're going to talk more gaming news because there is indeed more gaming news to cover. So stick around. And we're back, ladies and gentlemen, with the second segment of the news. That was a lot of PlayStation news. So yeah, expect a lot more PlayStation related news, of course, with Summer Gift Games coming real soon. That's this week. Wait, yeah, it's this week. So on to some more news that may or may not really be related to PlayStation. In this case, it's not. Let me start with a little bit of a PSA for those that play Pokemon, specifically Scarlet and Violet. It's finally time. They finally added Pokemon Home support to Scarlet and Violet, even though they said that they would add it like in the first quarter of the year and then said nothing for like a really long time. And then it was kind of leaked that was supposed to come out apparently like the third week of May, and then they released a statement saying that oh no wait no, that statement was inaccurate. So now we were in a longer limbo of like when is it gonna come out? But the fact that that was leaked seemed that at least they were close to actually releasing it. It's just that someone may have pushed the button too early on the site and like filled in the wrong information. But yeah, it is out now. It is the update is now available. If you haven't done it already, um, make sure that you do so that you get some goodies. The goodies that you in this case are Pokemon, of course. So the first time you transfer Pokemon from Scarlet and Violet to Pokemon Home, you will receive the three starters: Sprigatito, Fuecoco, and Quaxley with special hidden abilities in Pokemon Home. and you can transfer them to your main game, and vice versa. And you can just leave them in the home. Um, yeah, so that's a good one. So I just wanted to touch on that one. If you're still playing Pokemon Scarlet and Violet, or at least you're interested in getting the Pokemon, I recommend that you update it and do so. In relation to that, something that I apparently missed because I haven't touched Pokemon Home in a while myself is that so for those that played on the 3DS, there was this neat little app, the predecessor to Pokemon Home, called Pokemon Bank. Now the way Pokemon Bank worked is you had like a 1 year subscription that you pay $5 for, and then you'd have access to Pokemon Bank for an entire year on your 3DS. That's compatible, of course. It's forward compatible with Pokemon Home, so you can transfer your Pokemon from Pokemon Bank to Pokemon Home. But more importantly, it allowed you to transfer Pokemon from from your games, from the 3DS games, but also from the Virtual Console games. So if you had Pokemon Red or Blue or Yellow or Gold and Silver or Crystal, and you had Pokemon that you wanted to transfer, or Pokemon from like older DS titles, you could use the Pokemon transporter to transport them to Pokemon Home. Yeah, Pokemon Bank. Sorry, and from Pokemon Bank you can transfer them to Pokemon Home, basically allowing you to build a living dex of like literally all the Pokemon from all the generations. Now, with the closure of the 3DS eShop, people are like, well, crap, I guess we won't have access to Pokemon Bank anymore. But apparently, for at least the foreseeable future, Pokemon Bank is going to be available for free. So yeah, don't fret about that. Just if you just connect to the network, if you have Pokemon Bank on your 3DS, I hope you do. You can do that. If you don't, well, it's too late to get Pokemon Bank now. Especially Pokemon Transporter. I hope you were able to download that. If you do, if you did, rejoice. I'm sure most people that play Pokemon probably was already aware. But see this as a nice little reminder if you didn't. Um, Other than that, there was also some other news. Um, yeah, I mean, let's keep it a little bit Nintendo in this route, or at least for Nintendo related. So a while ago, Capcom released the Mega Man Battle Network Legacy Collection. I still need to pick it up, but holy crap, am I happy that this exists. And apparently, according to Capcom, the reason why this exists at all is because of fan demand for the games. And you know what? I kind of believe them in that one because I legit believed that Capcom would never release a legacy collection for the Battle Network games, mostly because they are RPGs. And like, if they were to do stuff like relocalize them for this specific release, they wouldn't do that because that would cost way too much money and maybe way too much effort, and they didn't feel like there would be enough demand for people to buy it. Apparently, it's been selling gangbusters. It's been going above their expectations, so that is nice to see. Does this mean we'll get more Battle Network games? Probably not. Probably not. Does this mean we'll get a shooting star uh the shooting star Mega Man. So the I don't want to call it a sequel, but like kind of sort of a sequel, kind of sort of pretty much its own thing. Kind of yeah, shooting star Mega Man is kind of similar, but also not. You still have like the whole virus busting, but it's now from like a third person perspective, and I don't know. It's like to me, I didn't like that. That's like sort of kind of sequel to Mega Man Battle Network. It didn't really appeal to me. Um, uh, Mostly from like a story perspective. I mean, I guess the games are fine. I don't know. I've never played the games. Um, but these were like yeah, 3DS games. If I'm saying that correctly, I think the first game might have come out on DS. I don't know if they're gonna do that. I don't know if there's a big enough outcry for that particular branch of the RPG Mega Man thing. I'd honestly be more. I honestly put more faith in that they would put out like a single legacy collection for um, Mega Man Legends. I don't think they will. But if I'm gonna compare those two franchises, I feel like there's a bigger chance for that happening than Shooting Star Mega Man. Mega Man Star Force? Sorry, Star Force. I literally translated the Japanese title in my head. I was like, that's what it is right now. No, Mega Man Star Force. Um, yeah, who knows? Who knows what they're gonna do with that one? Uh, I know for I know for a fact that at the very least, um, what they won't be doing, like what Riot was about to do, was start their LCS summer season without any teams because of disputes, sort of, about changes that Riot made to like the LCS, which is their league. Um, there's a whole bunch of changes that are going in. Basically, the long and short of it is that league teams had like two teams. They had like their main team, and then they had like their minor league teams. And there's been a whole lot of controversy in terms of like the minor league teams and how they're honestly not contributing anything to like the league experience in terms of like people like graduating from the minor leagues to the major leagues like you would expect in any sports game. It doesn't work like that. Apparently, it works way different, and yet they still have a minor league. People that are getting paid, but like not really contributing to the league thing at all. Um, from what I can tell, not a lot of people watch like minor league games. They only watch the major league games, of course. And even then, it's also not been doing great. Like esports in general has not been doing great lately. In terms of like viewership and like trying to retain that viewership, like with the few exception, of course, like Evo and stuff like that, that still like remain pretty much on top of their respective like esports part of the esports world. And yeah, Riot was like, yeah, we're not gonna delay this. We're just like gonna let a bunch of people go, and we're not gonna compensate them for that. And then they started to um, protest, and people are like, "Oh no, you can't do that. Like, they need to get paid." But like I said, it's been very controversial because some people are like, "Why do they need to get paid? Like, they haven't really done anything. They haven't really earned a spot. They haven't really like improved the standings of the esports. They haven't really improved the standing of like league esports. So why pay them money for like essentially doing nothing? It's way more nuanced than that, of course, and there's way more details that goes into that. But rest assured, um, yeah. So apparently they delayed that. I don't know what's gonna happen with that league specifically. And what their deal is going to be with like the minor league players. Are they going to pay them? Are they not going to pay them? Are they going to move them up to the majors? Who knows? At this point in time, they are still waiting um, to see what's going to happen. Um, in other things of waiting to see what's going to happen, we're going back to PlayStation, but this time it's not part of the showcase, but this is like a separate thing. So there's been some reporting going around from Jason Schreier that the multiplayer Last of Us game has been facing setbacks. Um, one of the big setbacks is that they had some people come over to play test the game to see what they think, and they were not impressed. And when I say they, I mean Bungie, the current kings, at least at PlayStation, of live service games. And yeah, apparently they were not impressed with whatever Naughty Dog is working on in terms of the multiplayer game. So yeah, that has been facing some setbacks. That has been a part of it apparently, but also like development modes and stuff like that. That seems to be the reason why we haven't seen anything about the game. It's also probably one of the reasons why we haven't seen them show off the game or talk about the game in greater detail. At this point, I don't know if we're gonna see that multiplayer factions game coming out anytime soon. If these are the worries that they have, especially when it's another developer that comes in. Even if you're part of the same team, it kind of sucks for them to come in and say that yeah, your game is not up to snuff, right? It's just, and they are not being facetious because they are a team that is very experienced in this space. They've made their own mistakes. They've learned from their own mistakes, I hope. um and like they know how it works. They know what works in terms of like grabbing people's attention. They've had some, yeah, like I said, they have had their mistakes of their own that hopefully they have learned from. And yeah, it's yeah, yeah, that can be demoralizing, honestly, to have that happen. And of course, um I'm sure they've had some like development roles on the side because they've never done something like this before. Yeah, sure, they've made a multiplayer mode, but a whole entire game focused on multiplayer specifically and having it being a live service, that's different. That is way different. You know what is not different? Rebooting an entire game's development. Because, oh boy, have they done it again at Ubisoft. So remember PlayStation. Remember PlayStation just on my mind. Remember Prince of Persia: Sands of Time remake? Yeah, I forgot about that too for quite a while, and then the latest reporting came in, stating that yeah, they rebooted the whole thing. So I know how it was like being developed by this like two teams in India, and apparently that wasn't going that well. When they revealed it, people were not impressed, and they had to delay the game, and that didn't work out. So they were taken over by like Ubisoft Montreal. The Was it Ubisoft Montreal or Ubisoft Paris? I forget. Basically, the original team responsible for the original game back in the early 2000s, they are in charge of the whole project. Most people assumed that they would just like take over what was already done and then like fix what was broken and improve on stuff and then ship it. But then it got essentially indefinitely delayed, and now we know why. Because um, apparently nothing could be salvaged from that earlier project, and they had to start from scratch. And apparently they're still in pre-production for this remake. I'm sorry, so that means that we're not going to be seeing this game for at least another 3 years, if we're lucky, right? Because if it's still in pre-production, like what is like just for at this point, just forget about the remake. It'll come out when it comes out. Honestly, at this point, if they're gonna reboot it, or if they've rebooted it, take your flipping time, guys. Take your flipping time and make the game good, because nobody has any expectations of this being good at this point in time with all that has happened. And it's super funny that like Ubisoft is doubling down on the Assassin's Creed franchise. Now it suddenly makes more sense that they're doing that. I still don't know why, but okay. I mean, they have enough more IPs that they could rely on if they wanted to. Um, and yeah, I don't know what's going on over there. Speaking of games, there we don't know what's going on. So remember a while ago there was this. They announced this like Knights of the Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic KOTOR remake, and then it got delayed or seemingly canceled. Well, the good news is that's still technically in development, um, and yeah, it's being made by one of the studios from Embracer Group. But I don't think we know which group is actually working on it quite yet. But yeah, it is still on its way, apparently, allegedly. We don't know much about it other than it's still in development. Um, but yeah, I don't know. I don't know if that's gonna come out. If it's gonna come out, it's gonna be interesting to see. And yeah, it's super crazy to think that the KOTOR thing is coming out still, especially since the Knights of the Old Republic remaster that came out on Switch was supposed to get the DLC that came with the game, but that was delayed. Uh, that was delayed a while ago, and then they were like, "Oh yeah, we're still working on it." And then, like recently, I think like this past week, they announced that, "Oh yeah, we have to cancel the DLC for that game," which is a real shame because people are really looking forward to that DLC to come out again for KOTOR. Now they're not getting it, and like it was supposed to be part of the deal, and they were making such a big fuss about it that they were like porting the DLC, and now it's not happening at all. Um, it is very sad to see when stuff like this happens. And some people have been like the, the people that I think you had to buy the DLC separate or something, um, or like it was part of the deal. So as like a bit of a compensation, Aspire is like giving away like a free copy of like any of their like Star Wars libraries that they've put out. So people can choose like a free Star Wars game if they haven't bought that yet on Switch as like a mea culpa. So at least that's something, but it still won't take away the sting for the people that wanted that DLC for that original KOTOR. So that's disappointing to hear. That's disappointing to hear. Um, I think that is it for like the most major news. There are a few speculation things that I did want to talk about in terms of like Summer Game Fest. Apparently, allegedly, Ubisoft is working on a new The Crew game. I think it's called The Crew. It's allegedly called The Crew Motor or something. And apparently, the reason why this rumor exists is because like a half hour of gameplay footage was leaked, and then in the rush to, I don't know if it was in the rush to like wipe it from the internet, um 2 hours of footage leaked. I haven't seen anything, I've only heard the reporting on it, but yeah, that seems like a big oopsie. I don't know how you're able to pull that one off, but yeah. Um yeah, I haven't looked at it yet because if it's real, I want to check. I want to see it for myself when they officially like announces it and stuff like that. So that would probably be on the 12th, unless they're going to show it off at Summer Game Fest. But my money is, well, actually, they might do both. They might show it off at Summer Game Fest and be like, we're going to do an in depth thing at Ubisoft Forward, or they'll just show it off at Ubisoft Forward and call it a day. Either way, that is that is very unfortunate for Ubisoft. I think it was Ubisoft, right? The Crew, yeah. Because I think it was like a PlayStation exclusive. So assuming it is real, air quotes. Uh, we'll see more. We'll see more about it sooner rather than later. And you could probably bet that it's going to be again a PlayStation exclusive because I think the first two games were like PlayStation exclusive. Um, yeah. Outside of that, rumors and speculation. There's been a lot of rumors and speculation going on about what might be shown. Um, People are still wondering if they're going to show off Final Fantasy Seven Rebirth. Um, like the Twitter account for Final Fantasy Seven has been posting, I think I want to say almost daily at this point. Um, like these like developer questions, and that recently started, and I don't think we're gonna see anything beyond this until after Final Fantasy 16 launches. Of course, we're gonna be seeing Mortal Kombat 1 because we already know that they're gonna show it off at Summer Game Fest. They're going to be showing off more stuff there as well. Um, and yeah, it's uh, I think we're gonna be seeing more stuff. Yeah, they are doing it like somewhat daily for the Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. So keep an eye on the Final Fantasy VII Twitter if you want to see that. But I don't think we're gonna see any real big push until Final Fantasy 16 releases, um, which should be relatively soon. And they've said it won't have a day one patch. Most likely won't have a day one patch because they polished the ever living crap out of that game. Um, don't expect Nintendo stuff to be showing up there because Nintendo is not a part of Summer Game Fest. You may see some third party games releasing stuff on Switch that they'll highlight there. Um, yeah, so look forward to that. We'll probably see some like more Square Enix related stuff. I really hope they don't show off any stupid NFTs or stuff like that that can like go suck a lemon. Um, but yeah, it's like Microsoft's PR team came out ahead also to say like, hey, our presentation will have for first party games at least, it will all be either in-game footage, in-engine, or in-game footage with cutscenes. No CG trailers from Microsoft themselves. That doesn't mean that third parties won't show trailers that are CG, but at least from Microsoft themselves, seems like they're trying to get ahead of the narrative in that regard, and try and like curry some good favor there. I They have an uphill battle after Redfall. They have a uphill battle. Let me tell you. Um, I hope that they're able to pull it off. I hope that the Microsoft presentation goes well. Um, they deserve a dub, but they kind of have to earn that dub for real. Because yeah, it's not good. It's not good, guys. It's not good. Um, Probably we'll see more of Capcom's offering. They're supposed to have, as of this episode going live, if I'm not mistaken, their final um, Monster Hunter Rise Sunbreak presentation, which is big because if that's the final one, that means that there's gonna be no more free updates for Sunbreak, and that means that they're probably gonna be focusing on the next Monster Hunter game. We'll see how that goes. This would be essentially the sequel to Monster Hunter World that people are hoping and anticipating is going to happen. We don't know that. We'll see when that happens. I don't think it's going to happen at Summer Game Fest. They're going to be focusing squarely on that. We'll probably see some more Resident Evil related stuff from Capcom during the Summer Game Fest period. That's at least what I expect would happen. Some focus, of course, on Street Fighter Six. Probably, I don't think we're gonna see like the first inklings of like the first DLC characters, but I'm pretty sure that they're at least gonna mention that it sold well because it did. In terms of EA, we know that the EA is working on some stuff, um, like some Star Wars related stuff after the release of uh, Jedi uh, Jedi Survivor. I hope they're kind of focusing on that one and continuing to improve that game. But I wouldn't be surprised if they announced some other Star Wars related stuff that we weren't aware of yet, or even if we were, we haven't seen hide nor hair from it yet. Yeah, I don't know if we're gonna see any more from PlayStation. To be honest, from PlayStation, it's from Sony themselves. Um, since they did the showcase, apparently there is a rumor going on that they might do another showcase later this year. which is interesting because they've never done more than one showcase a year. Why they would do another one is beyond me. Um, yeah, I think that's about it. I don't have really concrete rumors or anything to go off of for now. Um, do I think they'll show off Metal Gear? I don't think so. Otherwise, they would have done so. Um, yeah, I think I think stuff that um maybe wasn't highlighted, maybe they wanted to show off here. We might see from Sony, but don't get your hopes up too much. Always remember to keep your expectations in check. Um, and yeah, you might get surprised by a company that you least expect. So I think that's gonna be it for this week's episode. Thank you so much for listening. I appreciate you for listening to Game Rivals. You can always find us on your favorite podcasting app. Our home is, of course, on Spotify, but you can also find us on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Overcast, Pocket Cast, you name it, we're probably there. You can also find us on YouTube, which is youtube.com /at Game Rivals. You can find me on YouTube as well, which is youtube.com /at Maximilian_X. You can find me on Twitter, which is twitter.com /Maximilian. You can find me on Instagram, instagram.com /Maximilian_X. You can find me on TikTok, same name. You can send us feedback at GameRivalsFeedback@gmail.com, which is our email address where we listen to your feedback. All feedback is welcome, of course. I appreciate you. If you want to find me on Discord, you can find me on there as well. And yeah, I think that is about it. So thank you so much again for listening. I will be doing a live reaction of the Summer Game Fest presentation. I will be doing some live reactions from some of the presentations during the month. So keep an eye on that. On my socials for more details on stuff like that. And yeah, that's it. There's nothing else for me to say. Then I have been and always will be Maximilian X, and I'll see you all next time. Later.